Who would have thought that the start of the year would bring this much controversy? Now, I thought that President Biden wasn't expecting it because, as it turns out, even more classified documents have been found in his Delaware home. The FBI has admitted to working with social platforms, and they've said that they will continue to monitor the American public because it's actually helping them do their jobs. Yeah, go figure. Are you in favor of having your online footprint tracked by the government? Comment a quick yes or no on that one. Do you think that Big Brother has slightly overstepped their bounds? And as if the president doesn't have enough on his plate, an email named him as a part of a multi-million-dollar gas deal with none other than China. Things are not looking very good for him, and this could very well be a huge indication that 2024 will be completely different in terms of presidential candidates and the most likely to be elected. Now, before I continue, please take a second, smash the like button. I appreciate the love, you guys. Always great to see that help us out with the YouTube algorithm. And if you're in need of your daily dose of the truth when it comes to the U.S. economy, the state of our economy, Washington, D.C., Social Security, SSI, SSDI, the stock market, the housing market, and everything that's going on in Washington that affects our families, our lives, and our bank accounts, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Also, if you own a home, make sure your home is protected. There's a free link to the home warranty quote. There's a free link to the home warranty quote link in the description down below. It only takes about 15-20 seconds. Thousands of you guys have already taken advantage of it, including myself. Get your free quote. The link is below. So what is going on at the White House? Well, literally what is happening there, because we are seeing reports about overseas deals and top secret documents lying around every second these days, right? Well, let's start with the 2017 email that shows that Hunter Biden, together with his uncle Jim Biden, were brokering a deal that would send gas supply from Louisiana to China. Now, at this point, former Vice President Joe Biden hadn't made his case to run for president yet. Now, in this email, we can clearly see that Joe Biden was named specifically with his son regarding a purchase of 5 million tons of gas. That's a lot of gas, even for Washington. Now, some say that this was a simple mistype and was meant to say Jim Biden. Now, it's still weird to see such a politically influential family dealing with gas over to China. Now, I need to check my keyboard to see if Jim is close to Joe. But what do you guys make of this? Now, it really doesn't help the president's case, as even more secret documents have been found in his Delaware home. This is like what, the third or the fourth batch of discovered documents that have been uncovered, right?
A new FBI search of his Delaware home Friday, in which the Bidens were not there, turned up even more items. Adriana Diaz first broke this story, and she joins us from Chicago with more on that. Adriana, good evening.
Good evening, Jerika. Sources tell CBS News that the FBI search was agreed upon ahead of time, and a written consent form was even signed by a representative of the president. We're told a form is standard practice for a search of this kind. Now the total number of classified documents is between 25 and 30.
The FBI search lasted nearly 13 hours Friday. In a statement, the president's personal attorney, Bob Bauer, said investigators had full access to the president's home, including personally handwritten notes, papers, and memorabilia. They took 6 items consisting of documents with classification markings and surrounding materials from his time as vice president and senator.
That's right, guys. 6 more classified documents were taken from President Biden's home after a 13-hour search. Now, let me just linger with that fact before I continue. 13-hour search? How big is this man's home? And how fast were these people from the DOJ searching? I know I've asked this before, but doesn't this entire thing smell a little bit fishy? I mean, what are the odds that these documents are just popping up a year before the 2024 presidential elections? Now, I can't quite put my finger on it, but it's really odd that these things are lining up perfectly. I almost feel like somebody's trying to set up President Biden. Now, I also want to point out to you guys that it has been found out that the first son, Hunter Biden, was said to have quarantined in the Delaware residence, the same one where more top secret documents continue to be found. I'm just connecting the dots, you guys, and I'm pretty sure that you are. Now, while all of this is happening, House Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer is looking at one of the places where documents were found, and he's saying that the Penn Biden Center may have received donations from China. According to Comer, quote, President Biden's pattern of mishandling classified documents is alarming. Committee is concerned about who had access to the documents given to the Biden family's financial connections to foreign actors and companies. The committee requests documents and information related related to foreign influence at UPenn and the Penn Biden Center, end quote. Now, he also added that the committee has learned UPenn received tens of millions of dollars from anonymous Chinese sources, with a marked uptick in donations when then former Vice President Biden was announced as leading the Penn Biden Center initiative, end quote. Wow. Well, we'll see where this goes, and I'll keep you guys up to date, as I'm pretty sure you guys are as invested in this as I am. Now, speaking of being invested in something, I feel as if there's no group of people who want to see us eat bugs more than the World Economic Forum. Now, one of their speakers at Davos this year actually said this, quote, "If 1 billion people stop eating meat, I tell you, it has a big impact. Not only does it have a big impact on the current food system, but it will also inspire innovation on food systems," end quote. So, what are we supposed to eat then? Why not beetle burgers? Doesn't that sound tasty? Now, if you guys haven't ever searched for this term before, I highly suggest that you don't do it with a full stomach.
At first glance, it looks like a normal hamburger, but it's not just any old burger, because half of the meat patty consists of ground up insect larvae. Student Vera Buckelman tried out the Bucksburger.
A bit dry, but it has nice flavor, and I think I would recommend it to my friends. Yeah.
The main ingredient in Vera's Bucksburger is ground lesser mealworms, the larvae of the darkling beetle. The production of the insect burgers begins here in the Dutch town of Ermelo. The manufacturers have been breeding insects here for about 40 years, mainly as animal feed and for the cosmetics industry. But recently they've been producing more and more larvae for human consumption. Nico Ruud is plant manager of ProtiFarm. He performs regular checks on the quality of his worms. Around 2 billion people around the world eat insects daily, but it's still a big taboo in Europe.
I think within 5 years it's quite normal to eat insects. It will be inside as an ingredient in a lot of food products, I think. So within 5 years I think we all eat a couple of times a year insects.
Here's a question for you though. Do you guys think that these unelected billionaires in Switzerland are eating bugs? Or do they just want us to eat bugs? I think they're probably eating steak and meat. What do you think? Now, I really love to know what you guys think about this, because I feel as if they're not going to be putting their money where their mouth is. Now, since we're already talking about Davos, Christopher Wray of the FBI was a speaker in a session called "In the Name of National Security." Now, in it, the FBI director said that their collaborations with social media platforms protected our country and that they will need to continue to do this for our safety. According to him, quote, "I think the sophistication of the private sector is improving, and particularly important, the level of collaboration between the private sector and the government, especially the FBI, has, I think, made significant strides," end quote. Now, here's a question. Why is the head of the FBI speaking at the World Economic Forum? And do you guys think that the FBI should be using social platforms like Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, Meta, Twitter to track what we do and say? And that we should be potentially censored on what they think is right and wrong? Now, you're probably as pissed off about that as I am. But on that note, let me know if you guys think this next piece was right or wrong. Suspected investors in the FTX Ponzi scheme rammed into a metal barricade outside the home where disgraced FTX founder Sam Bankman-Fried was holed up. And after the crash, the men shouted at security guards that they won't be able to keep them out. SBF, or Sam Bankman-Fried's family, had hired a $10,000 a week armed security detail after death threats have been made directly toward the accused crypto fraudster and his family. $10,000 a week? That's a lot of money. Wonder where that money's coming from. And Vice President Kamala Harris has defended her not going to the border during her Arizona trip. According to the vice president, when asked about the borders, quote, "Let me say on the border that it is one of our highest priorities to continue to work on making sure that the border is secure and that we also do what is necessary to have a fair and humane system. Frankly, Congress needs to act. We've put a historic number of agents on the border. We have upgraded and are in the process of upgrading technology, but Congress needs to act," end quote. She's pointing the finger at Congress on this one. She's also promised that when the opportunity rises, she's definitely going to visit the border again. The question of when was not answered. So what do you guys think about today's updates? Anything that caught your attention and want more updates on? Go ahead and drop me a comment down below. Now, before I go, I want to let you guys know again that I am thankful for our community and that nothing will give me more happiness than to see you guys flourish in whatever you want to do. Now, if you're a budding investor who's now getting into the stock market or real estate, if you're looking to strengthen your cash flow with multiple streams of income through side hustles or small businesses, or even if you've been down on your luck, but you want to budget what you make responsibly, I invite you guys to join us over in the Patreon community. There's a link in the description down below. I'm hoping that this shows you the ropes with everything that I talked about, but don't forget to drop a thumbs up for the video. I really appreciate that, guys. Appreciate the love. Also subscribe for your daily dose of the truth. Thank you so much for watching. This is Ron. I'll see you on the next one.